Hello there and welcome to another Walker Analytics video. I'm Wesley Walker, the founder and director of Walker Analytics. And in today's video, I'm going to show you how to speed up your Google Data Studio dashboards. But before we begin, if any of you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe for more Google Data Studio tutorials, tips, tricks, and more. And drop a like down below if you enjoyed this. Let's begin. So what I have in front of me is a Google Data Studio dashboard, which is connected to Google Search Console. And this data is quite extensive. It gives this brand everything that they need on their organic search performance. It's even got a few custom measures in there as well. However, sometimes when you're using live connections in Google Data Studio, it can take quite a while for the data to load. And this can be not incredibly convenient when you're sharing these dashboards with the wider business and with stakeholders who need the information right away. And it can become quite a bad experience for your stakeholders when you have very lengthy dashboards that require a lot of data and take a long time to load, or sometimes don't even load, which can be, again, a bad experience for your stakeholders, who are essentially your customers when you're an analyst. So what we will do here is I will show you how to speed up this dashboard, and we'll be using the extract data connector, which has been created by Google Data Studio. And essentially what it does is that it pulls data out from your Google Data Studio source, and it puts it into a static location, meaning that you don't have to query the API or the live connection every time you load the dashboard, because the data has already been extracted. So it makes the dashboards load a lot quicker and a lot faster than they usually do. So let's get right into it. So first of all, what we need to do is we need to actually extract the data. And the reason being is that normally what I would do is that I would make a copy of the data, and then before you do that, change the new data sources and set it to extract data. But at the moment, there's a bug with Google Data Studio where if you don't create a new data source actually from the home page through the navigation, and you create a new data source in the dashboard view, it doesn't actually save the data source, which can give you lots of problems later on while you're building your dashboards. So until this issue is fixed, we're going to have to create the data source here first, and then make a copy of the dashboard because the data should have saved. Really annoying bug, hoping that it gets fixed soon. If anyone else has encountered this, let me know in the comment section below, because this has been quite frustrating for myself recently. So go create a data source, and what you'll be using is this data source here called Extract Data by Google. So click this and select the data source, so it's correct. And all we need to do is drag in our metrics and dimensions. So we'll need brand, we'll need date, we'll need device category and query, and for the metrics here we'll need our position, clicks of course, impressions. When you have metrics that have been calculated, so these are metrics that you've defined in Google Data Studio, I don't recommend using them and importing them in extract data. The reason being is because it works better when you just recalculate them in the extracted data set. And because sometimes with Google Data Studio, when a averaged or a calculated metric is pulled in, the data can sometimes fall over and it can struggle to interpret it. So I just recommend just recreating it in your new data source, just for peace of mind, so that your dashboards work effectively. So we could pull in cyclic for it, but we don't really need to because we have clicks and impressions, so we can recreate that. So that's that. So now we need to change the date range. So the data range on the original dashboard is looking at all of May, and it also has a 1 month look back window. So we'll need to select all of May plus April. So that's for this year. So we'll go about that far. And then if we go to the end of May, 31st. Cool, that should do it. So alongside here, you'll see all the metrics and dimensions that we've chosen. That's all correct. You also have the option to auto update your extracted data. So this is really useful if you're sending out dashboards that are scheduled. So if you send out dashboards that are scheduled on a daily, hourly, or weekly basis, you can set your extract data source to auto update at a specific time of the day. So if you, for example, if you're sending out a dashboard in the morning automatically from Data Studio, you probably want your data to be refreshed about 6 a.m., 7 a.m. in the morning, depending on how soon you send it out. So that is a really useful feature. but we can switch it off because we won't need it because this is a one-time dashboard for this example. So now let's save and extract, we'll just change the name. So I'll call it DE create Google Search Console domain. That's easy to know. I'll just go across into the fields. So yeah, we can see everything is here that we've extracted, and there's some aggregation, which is fine. So now we need to recreate the measures. So we'll recreate site CTR, which is of course clicks divided by impressions. We also had some misclick measures as well. Misclicks, which is impressions, minus clicks. Keep pressing the caps instead of the tab. Okay, that's that. So now we have everything we need. We just need to change. You just have to double check that the formatting is what it needs to be. So site CTR, that's numeric, so that's %. Misclicks, that's numeric, and misclicks rate also needs to be a percentage. Impressions, device, yep, that's all good. Okay, cool. So now we've got the extract domain, and because this is a Search Console dashboard, it has two data sources in it. So it has the URL level data from Search Console and the domain level data from Search Console, and that's because Google Data Studio provides two connectors essentially for Google Search Console, or two options within the connector. So now we'll create another data source, another extract, and we'll call this the data extract correct GSC URL. So now let's find, there it is, URL. And we'll pull in the date, device category, landing page, and the query. I also need to put in the impressions and the URL clicks. Again, got to change the date range to the exact same as before. Apply, and that's everything. We'll just need to create misclicks and URL CTR. Sweet. So we'll load this. Yep, we've got both our data sources are there and extracted. So that's fantastic. So now we can copy the data. Let's force refresh it first, just so that it knows that it's there. And now make a copy. So we'll see it's taken a little while to load. And so we'll change that with DE domain and change URL with DE URL. Click copy of the report, and let's see what happens. For some reason that has not changed anything, but hey ho. Okay, so it's the filter. So we essentially just need to change the filter, and this should hopefully change everything. So what you can see has happened here is that I haven't added in the country filter because I filtered the entire dashboard to the UK. So if I quickly just change the extract data to include the country filter, that should be quite an easy fix. So if we click go on edit connection and drop in country, and just click save and extract, and do the exact same thing for domain, that should fix the dashboard. So now if I refresh the data, it's all there. Yeah, refresh the data. Looked like it'd already done it, but we are all good. So as you can see, the data is now being updated, and it's only looking at that period. So this chart is slightly different, but if you wanted to expand it, that'll be all fine. But we can see the data is all here. So it makes things a lot easier when you're building data studio dashboards, and you just copy and paste, and you make sure that everything is the same across the new data, the new dashboard versus the old dashboard, and that all the variables, the metrics and dimensions, because you can literally just copy and paste it, and that saves you a lot of time rather than having to rebuild the entire dashboard. I don't think anyone would want to do that. So one thing that you might have noticed after we've use the data extract is that the numbers in the copy dashboard are different to the original. So as we can see here, we have 31 clicks, 3.6k impressions, 0.9% CTR and 49.6, whereas we have 17 clicks extracted, 3.2 thousand CTR and 140k average position, which is obviously wrong. So the reason for that will be two things, specifically in this case. One is that we have to change the aggregation for these metrics. So by default, the dashboard is summing the click-through rate and the average impression, rather than it being an overall average. So we'll have to change the aggregation in here. And also we have lower clicks because of the way that we've extracted the data. So we're essentially looking for all instances of clicks where there was a URL, where there was a query, where there was a country, device category, etc., all classified. And sometimes in this specific instance with Google Search Console data, there'll be a sum of clicks that have none of those fields attributed towards a click or an impression. So they would appear as just blank data in the raw data, which would just be a number of clicks but no fields assigned to it, which is why there's quite a difference in the number of clicks. So you have to be aware of that when you're using the data extract, because if you have data in there that will be summed up but there's no attributes towards it, then just keep that in mind when you're doing the data extract. One way that you can work around this is that you can do a data extract for a specific metric with no fields aligned to it. In the original data extract we did for this dashboard, we included the brand generic keywords, the country, date, device categories, dimensions. But if you did just a data extract for the metric clicks for that period, then you wouldn't have this problem. So first thing we'll do is we'll change the aggregation. So site CTR, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a new field and recreate it. And the reason being for this, it will just give you the most accurate view. Okay, so do the sum. Clicks. Sum impressions. There we go. So we get the accurate figure, and this is slightly different to here, but because we're working with a lot less clicks, yeah, you'd expect that to be the case. So what you have to do is you'd have to predefine the aggregation in order to get the right measure. Some of you might be wondering the reason why I have two scorecards on top of each other. The reason being is that one kind of trick I've worked around in Data Studio to get two different comparisons is by having two scorecards on top of each other. So in this instance, you'll see in the same comparison, but how I normally use this in dashboards is that you'd have the scorecard on top would be for the previous month or previous week, and the scorecard at the bottom would be for the previous year. So it gives you the ability to have the view of week over week and also year over year in what looks like one scorecard, but it's actually two. So I'll change this to be an average, and because we can't actually work out average position with the data that we're given from Google Search Console, we're just going to have to average the number to get it closer to the actual. So we want to check the charts as well to make sure that that's correct. So yeah, you can see the average position is wrong, so we'll change that to the average. And we see CTR is wrong as well, so we'll do what we did before, recreate it. You could just average CTR, but you'll get a more accurate reading when you actually recreate it. Yes, and of course make it a percentage. URL CTR, so we'll need to change that. And again, do the same thing, create the field. And it's URL clicks. Fantastic. And we just need to do the same thing here again for average position, because that table's fine. So just need to do it for average position and CTR. So again, recreate CTR. Change the number to percentage. And click apply. And the reason why you see different variables in this table is this table is based on the domain level GSC data, and the table above was based on your URL level data. That's so you can get two different views, essentially. Because what might be useful for your stakeholders is to have one view for their website split into site sections, and then one view which is the website as a whole. So we just change average position to be aggregate by average, and there we have it. One thing I will show you is the example I mentioned earlier about the clicks. So as you can see, the clicks here are less than what they are there. So what we will want to do is create another data source, and again another data extract. And like I said earlier, we will only extract the metric which will be clicks. So we only need this for domain, and we'll drop in the metric clicks, and we'll have the exact same date range, 31st, the last day in May. We will also need to include the country and date range dimensions, and this is so that the data that we extract will be in the same format as the rest of the dashboard. Save and extract. And reload. And plug in the date range dimension. There we go. That is now the same as what we see in the original dashboard. That's one way you could do that. You can do that for every single metric if you want everything to be exactly the same. Sometimes the variance isn't big enough to really be that concerned, but ultimately it's up to you and how you want to handle it. But this is, in a nutshell, how you can speed up your Google Data Studio dashboards. So the last thing that we'll do in this video is we'll run a speed test for each dashboard to see how much faster it is compared to the original. So we'll do a performance test on desktop and run that for both pages. So on the left hand side we can see the speed performance for the original dashboard, and on the right hand side we can see the performance for the new dashboard using the data extract. And the metric we care about here will be time to interactive, which is how long it takes for every element on the page to be interactive. And we can see that for the original dashboard this was 15.1 seconds, and for the improved dashboard it is 13.1 seconds, being 2 seconds faster than the original. So there you have it. That's my video on how you can speed up your Google Data Studio dashboards. So what did you think? Let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you on my next Google Data Studio video.